What is up, everyone? Thank you so much for watching. It is Kyle here with the Kyle Ewald Live podcast, and I have my really good friend, Wanderson Franco. How are you?
Mr. Kyle, what an honor to be in this podcast. I'm really excited for what God is going
So,
to do in these couple of minutes that we're going to be here. Thank you for having
amen.
me.
Amen. I'm
I'm
super excited to
excited.
have you. Before we continue, let's go.
We would love to promote your business right here on the Kyle Ewald podcast. With over 40,000 potential viewers, take your business to another level. Whether you're a business owner, sell beauty or health products, or just looking to push your brand, contact us today.
Kyle is a passionate speaker who has preached and spoken at events all around the world. He thrives in pointing people to their purpose and encourages everyone to leave their mark on this world. If you want to invite Kyle to preach or speak at your church, event, or company, visit KyleEwald.com now.
Well, hello, everyone. I wanted to welcome you here. It looks like Wanderson's busy doing something. But anyways, I want to welcome every single one of you for watching the Kyle Ewald podcast. It's so exciting to have you on. We have so many amazing things happening. Tomorrow we have Lenore Purvis. She is amazing. She runs Heaven's Army. She rescues women from prostitution and just shelter. It's amazing what she's doing. And so I want you to watch that. Also, next week, it's kind of unconfirmed right now, but we do have Micah Tyler coming on next week. So that's going to be amazing. I also wanted to share with you that this podcast has been officially sponsored by Winsurance. It's a good friend of mine. It's an amazing company. If you are needing any type of insurance, he does home insurance, auto insurance, life insurance, commercial insurance, and he is pretty much guaranteeing you that you can get 30% off of your insurance if you go through him. He is only in Texas and is only registered in Texas. So if you are needing life insurance or car insurance, auto insurance, contact him. I'm actually going to do this really quick. Let me go ahead and put this. If you see that, if you want to text that number right there, that is my friend Brian. Go ahead and text this number below. Get your home, auto, life, commercial insurance. It's going to be 30% off. He is an amazing man, and I want you to be able to do that. Also, yes, you read that right. We are giving $25 instant, and we're going to cash app it directly to you. All you got to do is share this video. And I want you to encourage your friends when you share this video. Hey, go ahead and watch this. People follow this. It's going to be amazing. And here in a little bit, we're going to go ahead and give that on to Wanderson. Well, hello, Wanderson. How are you?
Bro, I'm super, super happy to be with you on this podcast.
Good.
Well, you were talking about insurance. Is that Brian that went to Guatemala with us?
It is.
Brian, I just wanted to say hi. I miss you guys.
He's an amazing guy. Yeah, he's an amazing guy. Well, first, I want to go ahead and start by letting everyone know who you are, Wanderson. Wanderson, I met in Dallas when my wife and I were helping with a church plant. And long story short, we met at a frozen yogurt place, actually, which was amazing. And since then, we have been so close. Our families love each other. And I'm going to tell you just before we start, for real, the most incredible man I've ever met is you, Wanderson, and I don't say that lightly. I have just seen this guy. If you're wondering who you're watching and who he is and what he's about, I have seen this guy literally his life. He practices the God. I mean, he loves Jesus, and it's very, very evident that he loves Jesus. And I can't tell you how many times I've been over to his home with our families, and we're going through whatever we're going through, and he would just stop everyone and just pray, and we would just pray right there. I remember my very own baby was choking a long time ago in our home on a little piece of paper or whatever it was, and Wanderson just immediately started praying while I was freaking out. It was crazy. But anyways, man, you are such an incredible guy, and I just wanted to tell you, for real, I love you. You're awesome, and I'm super excited to get the people who follow us like to be able to get to know you. Yeah. Anyways, well, we are going to be talking about something incredible today, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but I do want to hear a little bit about your story. Obviously, if you've seen the image that's been going around, your daughter actually was drowning and God rescued her. And I want this to encourage so many out there who have gone through maybe the same certain, circumstances, or who are ever going through circumstances, and how God uses tragedy, much like he has in my life, and turns it to God's glory. So if you could give us, tell us what happened. Tell us how old she was. Give us a backstory. I would love to hear that.
Well, let me tell about my family first, if you don't mind. I have 3 beautiful kids. My wife, her name is Pabli, and I have Gabriel, who's 14. I have Talita, who's 8 today, and I have Luca, who's 3. God has really blessed us with an amazing family. Like you said, I'm originally from Brazil, been in the States for maybe 30 years right now, and I used to work at Christ for the Nations. I don't know if you heard of Christ for the Nations, Kyle. You've been there. It's a Bible college here located in Dallas, and I was part of the staff. And I remember it was a Sunday afternoon. It was August 2nd, 2015. Talita was only 3 years of age at that time. My wife, during that week, she told me, listen, there's some friends that are visiting from Brazil, and they want to take the kids to the pool. Are you okay with that? Yes, I'm okay. So they were having fun the whole week. A Sunday afternoon, we decided to do a barbecue. At the end of the afternoon, it was about 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon when we started, fellowshipping with each other, with some friends. And approximately 7 p.m., I remember somebody started screaming, saying, Talita, Talita, Talita just drowned. I was actually at the grill at the time. I dropped everything. I walked into the pool area, and the first image I saw, it was like literally my daughter's like floating. I jumped in the water. I grabbed her. I started calling her name several times. I would call and shake her, and just to see if she would respond to me. And I kept saying, Talita, Talita, it's Daddy. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Talita, it's me. Wake up. And she would not respond. She was completely blue. Her eyes were popped open, and at that time, the first thing that went through my mind is, she's done. I mean, she's dead. I don't think there's nothing else that I can do at this point. The devil is a liar. We are going through a crisis right now, but we got to understand that if we are in Christ, there's no crisis that will stop us. And I remember just laying her down and walking away. I felt like, man, it's over for me. I'm going back to one child. At that time, I only had Gabriel, and Talita. And I remember saying, you know what, I'm going back to one child just as of now. And at that point, Gabriel starts, my son, my oldest, he starts yelling and screaming and saying, my sister died. My sister died. 3 people came and started performing CPR. First one tried nothing. Second one tried nothing. A third person was a pediatrician nurse. She started checking her pulse. She couldn't find any pulse, and we could see it. I was literally away from her, just watching everything that was happening around her, and we could see on people's face like they were like giving up. Even my wife, who was certified, CPR certified, she got on her knees and she couldn't do anything. She was completely frozen. And I remember her just saying, Lord, you can save my baby. I can't do anything at this point, but you can save my baby. But let me say this. There's no coincidence in the kingdom of God, Kyle. There was a 4th person. She was supposed to be moving out the day earlier. Her truck broke down, and she ended up staying an extra day. And this 4th person, she heard everything that was happening. This is like really in the middle of the buildings, the pool. It's right in the middle. Everybody starts coming out. There was approximately 40 people. This is staff housing at Christ for the Nations, a Bible college. Everybody starts praying and asking for a miracle. This 4th person says, we're not giving up. Let's continue to perform CPR. It was approximately 3 to 5 minutes. Honestly, if you tell me, I don't have the actual estimate time that she was completely gone from us, but I honestly believe that she was dead, and God brought her back to life. Ambulance came in. They took her to the hospital. The doctors literally told us, during this summer, 55 kids died, and your daughter, I have no doubt that she's a miracle. We can't really say how this happened, but God brought her back to life with no side effects. She was almost 5 minutes without breath. Crazy.
Unbelievable. And so tell me really quick before we continue, like, what is Talita doing now? I mean, explain what's happening. Actually, before you do that, I want you to talk to me about the name Talita. That was crazy good. Like, I need people to hear this just because how powerful it is.
Let me say this. If you're about to have a child, make sure that you know what you're naming your kid.
Yeah.
I never thought her name was going to be so prophetic. When my wife was pregnant of Talita, during her first 9 weeks, she was bleeding heavily, and she was rushed into the hospital. And the doctors told us, listen, this is going to be a spontaneous abortion. There's nothing we can do. Your placenta is already detached. Just go home. In a few weeks, you come back. We'll clean you. And at this point, we were like really devastated with the doctor saying that this was going to be an abortion.
Yeah.
We came home, and my wife was laying down in the couch. There was a doctor that was going to school. At that time, I was a student at Christ for the Nations. I remember there was a doctor from India that she was also a student, and she came to our house right after we came back from the hospital. And she said, listen, the doctor's telling you that you're not going to hold this baby. Let's cancel those words right now. Let's pray over you and believe that God is going to save this baby. And she said, what I'm going to tell you to do right now, this is what you need to do. I can't write you any prescriptions because I'm not a doctor in the U.S., but this is what I would tell my patients in India. And she asked my wife to be in bed rest for like weeks. And one day my wife was just battling, the enemy. He's a liar. He's going to try to come, kill, steal, and destroy. And he's going to try to send darts that brings negative thoughts of death. And I remember my wife saying, listen, I don't think I'm doing the right thing. I think this baby's probably gone by now, because every time she would go to the restroom, she would bleed, and she would ask me, hey, come with me, because I think I'm losing this baby right now. So one day she received a message from a friend that she actually evangelized, that she prayed for in the mission field. And this friend told her, listen, I heard what you guys are going through during this pregnancy. I want you to read the book of Mark, chapter 5, verse 41. That's when Jesus goes into the centurion's house, Jairus' house. And then there's a little girl that's dead. And he says, Talita cum, which means little girl in Aramaic. And then he speaks those words over the girl, and she rises up. Listen, when my wife heard that, she started reading it. She starts crying, and she says, listen, if God saves this baby, I don't know if it's going to be a boy or a girl, but if God saves this baby and he gives me a girl, I'm going to name her Talita. That's how prophetic her name was.
That's wild.
Okay.
That's so wild.
I got to say this, Kyle. After her accident, her drowning accident, we went through an investigation. CPS came into our house. They were doing their job, but it was very devastating for us. Imagine you just almost lost your baby. Now you're having to go through an investigation. I remember receiving a letter from a collection company saying that we owed money to some physicians. And I'm thinking, man, this is probably Talita's accident. It was probably last time that she was in the hospital. So I called them, and they tell me, no, this has nothing to do with that. This is actually from your wife 4 years ago. And I'm thinking to myself, why would they hold a letter for 4 years? Why would they not call me within that 4 years?
Yeah.
God wanted to show us something. My wife went to the hospital on August 2nd, 2011. She was rushed into the hospital during this pregnancy. And the doctors told her that she was not going to hold that pregnancy. 4 years later, I get a collection company coming after me saying that I owe them money. Guess what? I had insurance, so I was able to prove that I had insurance. There was a mistake that was made in their accounting office. and they sent me that letter. But God was actually the one sending me that letter to remind me and show me that my daughter drowned on August 2nd, 2015. My wife was taken to the hospital on August 2011. 4 years later, the devil tried to kill my daughter twice on the same day, on the same at the same time. And I have all this. I have all these documents. Saying all this to say that her name was prophetic.
So
On
crazy.
August 2nd, people tell us on August 2nd, how people tell us, oh, you got to be careful with that date. No, on that day, I celebrate her second birth. God is a
Amazing.
God of resurrection, man.
And if you are someone out there who's watching or who is going to watch, a lot of people have asked me, how can you prove God to me? Why do you really believe in God, Kyle? And I'm going to always tell you that it sounds really bad that I'm saying this, but it wasn't the Bible who brought me to Christ. It wasn't even really worship music that would bring me to Christ. It was how my life evolved and where I could have been, but where I did not go, because it was so obvious that this was a God thing. And that's exactly what I see with your life and what Talitha's life for sure is God's hand is on her, and how crazy it is that the enemy, all he wanted to do is still kill and destroy her, because something powerful is going to happen. And so, which was what I want to get to really quick before we end, is tell us what Talitha is doing now with her life, just to kind of even give us a glimpse of what's going to happen to her in the future.
Well, we are just super excited. We know that there's a calling in her life. And it was about 2.5 years ago that we've noticed that she had a calling in her life, and she was so attractive to music. So we decided to invest on her, and she was able last year to release her first single. We were able to do this with a very famous singer from Brazil. It was an amazing experience, and she just finished releasing last week a second song with another famous artist from Brazil. It's been such a blessing. God is just opening doors for us. And I think you have a video. I sent you a video.
Let me play it real quick.
Sure. Let me say this. She just made. I got a message yesterday that she just made 2 amazing playlists at Spotify.
So
so God is really opening doors, and this is who Talitha is right now. So if there's a purpose in your life, listen. The enemy can try. He can come against you and try to kill you. But listen, if God's promise hasn't been fulfilled in your life yet, nothing's gonna happen, because greater is the one in us than the one in the world. Come on, play that video, Kyle.
Amazing. I'm going to tell you, I am so encouraged, because this very podcast needs to encourage every single one of you out there who has gone through pure hell. I mean, even if you look at my life, I lost both of my parents by the time I'm 13 years old. I was sexually molested when I was young. I mean, it is crazy, the stuff that people go through in their life. And then you end up asking God, number one, where are you? Right. But number two, you start asking yourself, like, man, it is so obvious that the enemy has done nothing but just come in here and try to steal. And that's why, Wanderson, you've always done this. And I think it's amazing, but you're like, pray for your children every single night. And I'm going to tell you, man, every single time I put my baby to bed, I'm praying over her because I'm not playing that game. Like, I want to be a spiritual leader. And that's what's even scarier, is when you're really in ministry, the enemy's after you even more. And so I just want to thank you, Wanderson, for just sharing that story and letting the people know, man, and I want to say this again before we end right now, if whoever you are, you have a calling, you have a purpose on your life, and the hell that you have been through, there's so much more to that. I look at all the pain and trials that I've been through in my life, and I don't look at it and pity myself. I look at that and say, man, that's just to bring me to a whole new level. And so, anyways, you can find Talitha's music on Spotify right now. And tell us a little bit really quick how to get that.
Well, she does have her channel on YouTube. If you want to watch the video, it's Talita with a TH at the end. Talita, Talitha, Franco, F4ANCO. Like I'm spelling her whole name here.
Good.
And also you can find it on Spotify or your favorite platform. Listen, the one thing that I've decided to do every day, like you were saying earlier, is pray Psalms 91 over our kids. I think it's so important. And if you're watching right now, if you have a family, it's because God's given you a family. Cover your family in prayer. It's so important.
Amazing.
Thank you for having me, Kyle.
I love you, man. Hey, listen, I wanted to go ahead before, and I told you I would do this. We are giving $25 away to someone who is watching. The way that you're going to win is you're going to mention really quick the first person who comments. I may see it before I end this podcast. I may not, but the first person who mentions the company that sponsored this podcast is the person who wins the $25. And yes, I will cash app it directly to you here tonight if you comment. So go ahead. I'm waiting for the comments right now. I don't see anybody yet. But I will be on after. I just want one person. That's all. Okay. But I'm going to send that $25 out to, or if not, I'm giving $25 to Wanderson. You never know. Okay. So the first person, I'm going to give it another 30 minutes. The first person who comments, the first or the company that's sponsoring this podcast, I'm going to give you that $25 here tonight. Anyways, hey, listen, we love you. We are so thankful. I want you to tune in tomorrow at 7:30 with another podcast we have with Lenora. She is absolutely amazing. You're going to love hearing her story and how she's rescuing women and how she's literally being able to walk in the Spirit of God. I mean, this lady is a powerhouse. And so I want you to be able to find that tomorrow. We love you. We thank you so much. And I'm going to be looking for those comments below so that way I can send you $25 cash. See you soon. Bye.
God bless you.